I'm Jonathan. This will be the second video in a 5-part series where I will reveal each of the 5 tracks off my upcoming EP titled Forever Changes. And so in each video, I will do a reveal of the song as well as explain some of the unique production techniques I've used in building up the track, specifically showcasing some of the guitar tones, how I achieved them, what gear I've used, what my thought process was behind the choices I made. And so without further ado, this is a track called Voyager Surreal. So as for the meaning of this song, the title kind of says it all for me. Basically, for me, means going on a dreamlike voyage to somewhere that you don't really know what the destination is. The title was inspired by the Voyager space probes that were launched in 1977 by NASA. They were launched into space at almost 40,000 miles per hour, and they've been heading out of our solar system for the last 4 decades. Sometimes I feel like I'm on a Voyager space probe myself, just being launched through life, not really knowing where it's going despite the best plans, not really knowing what I'm gonna learn, but knowing it's gonna be okay. And so that's what this song represents for me. So as for the rhythm guitars on this track, I'm using 2 different acoustics, hand hard left and right. The first one is a Recording King parlor size guitar, and I have it high strung. The other guitar is a traditional Dreadnought. It's a Yamaha FG180. If you want to know more about each of these guitars and high strung tuning, check out the first video in the series where I go into depth on that. I'll drop a link above and below. And so for these parts, I'm using my fingers, and I'm doing this finger picked motif. On the high strung guitar, I'm playing the chords up high. On the Dreadnought, I'm playing the chords in the lower register. And so I'll do a proper take of each guitar, and then we'll listen to them back in stereo, and we'll see how the high-strung guitar complements the Dreadnought and creates this wide, lush 12-string stereo effect. So let's check it out. So up next, I'm going to show you how I get the 2 different lead tones in this track. I'm going to be using my Lentz Reserve S-style guitar. This is a substitute. I originally recorded this track with my exotic XSC2 HSS S-style guitar. I think the Lentz is going to be a killer substitute, and I'm really curious how close we can get with it. And so when I was approaching the lead tones in this project, I was thinking of them as different characters in a movie, coming in and out of scenes with different intensity and different personalities. And so for the first lead tone, I'm going for a bit more of an aggressive, intense type of character, and I'm using a more medium style lead tone. I use the bridge pickup for that because that kind of gives me a little bit more of that bite and attitude. And so first I'll demonstrate the clean sound. I'm using 2 blackface style amps, a Blankenship Twinplex, and a Bloomfield 2-rock drive in stereo. This is what the amps sound like clean. And so next I'm going to add my gain stages. And so when I go for medium or higher gain lead tones, I prefer to stack 2 pedals set with light gain. And the reason I like doing that is because I find that it sounds a bit more natural and it creates a bit more of a unique character. I have tons of different gain pedals, and I love experimenting with different combinations to find the sound that really fits best in the track. And if you also stack gain pedals, I would love to know what your favorite combination is because I would love to try it, so let me know. So the first gain stage I'm going to use is a tube screamer. I'm using a Vemoram TSV 808. It's a rare pedal. It's quite expensive on the secondhand market these days. The price has really soared as it was a limited edition. I got lucky and pre-ordered it when it was new and paid a fraction of that price. I think any tube screamer will do. You don't need this one. So let's check out what that sounds like. I'll start clean and then I'll add the tube screamer. So here we go, clean. Tube screamer. So for the second gain stage, I'm going to use an exotic soul-driven pedal. This pedal, like the tube screamer, is mid-forward. I really love the combination of two mid-forward pedals. It really helps the lead part cut through in the mix. So let's check that out. So here is the tone with just the tube screamer. Kicking on the soul driven. Turn it off. Back on. And so what I like about that is it adds a little bit more gain and it adds a little bit more upper mid-range, which I think really helps a lead tone cut through the mix. And so up next, I'm going to add my delay pedals. Similar to my gain stages, I like to stack ambient effects. In this case, I'm using a mono delay as well as a stereo delay. And I love how the two combine to create more of a reverb-esque effect. For my mono delay, I'm using a Korg SDD 3000 in pedal format. It's a tape delay simulation. It's also filtered, meaning the low end and high end are rolled off so that the delay takes up a little less space in the mix. I have it tap tempo to the track around 770 milliseconds. So let's check out what that sounds like. No delay. Delay. And so for my stereo delay, I'm using a Keeley Halo. I'm using the Halo patch and its factory default settings. So I'm going to turn off the mono delay, show you what the stereo delay sounds like by itself, and then I'll combine the two. No delay. Adding in the mono delay now. So again, here's the trail of just the halo. Now I'll add the mono delay. You can hear it come up the center, especially if you have headphones on. So that's all the ingredients for the first lead tone. So let's check out what that sounds like all together in the context of the mix. So I originally mentioned that I recorded this with an HSS style guitar using a humbucker in the bridge, a lower wind PAF style humbucker. The Lens has a higher wind single coil in the bridge. So I'm really curious how you thought that compared to the recording. I found it pretty comparable actually. And so the lesson I take out of that is that the tone you have in your head is more important than the gear that you have at your disposal. And if you're inspired by some of these tones and you don't necessarily have the same gear that I have, I wouldn't worry about that at all. And I would go about it using the gear that you do have. I'm sure you'll achieve great results. So up next, I want to cover the lead tone in the chorus. This is a cleaner, more delicate tone. There's also a harmonized guitar part behind it, which I'll cover last. So I chose to use position 2, combining the neck and middle pickups. And I decided to forego a pick and use my fingers for this part. I thought it really helped distinguish this part from other parts in the song and give it its own unique. So starting with the clean tone. From there, I'm gonna kick on my Vemram Janray. It's my go-to for a lighter, delicate style overdrive. It's supposed to sound like a Fender Deluxe on the verge of breakup. I've never compared the two, but it's a really touch-sensitive pedal, and it stacks really well with other pedals in my collection. So let's check that out. Clean. Janray on. And for this tone, I'm using the same ambient effects, the Keeley Halo for stereo delay, along with the Korg SCD3000 for a mono delay. So I'll kick both those on, and let's hear how they sound with the Janray. No delay, mono delay, stereo delay. All together. Just like that. So let's check out that tone in the context of the track. And so up last is the harmonized guitar part from the chorus. I'm starting out with the exact same lead tone I used for the chorus, and I'm adding a special reverb pedal to it. I'm using a Walrus Audio Slow, running that in mono. What the slow essentially is it's sort of an ethereal reverb. It sounds almost like a pad. It has a bit of a vocal quality to it. But what it's essentially doing is adding a lower octave behind the reverb. And I think that really sets the harmony lead line apart from the main lead line. And it adds this sort of haunting quality that I really love. So here's the harmony line before the extra reverb pedal. Kicking on the slow. Sounds a little funky in isolation, but let's check it out in the context of the track. So I'd love to know what you think of some of the tones in this video. Were there any in particular that you were inspired to try? And if you have any questions, let me know. I'd be happy to answer them. And so if you liked any of what you heard, I'll be uploading the full song Voyager Surreal alongside this video, and I'll drop a link above and below to check that out. And so if you're digging this series so far, be on the lookout for the next 3 episodes. There's gonna be 5 tracks in total. Once all 5 tracks are released, I will also release the full album in its entirety and 1 video for your streaming pleasure. In the meantime, thanks a ton for watching. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider liking, commenting, or subscribing. That would really help get the content out to others that may enjoy it as well. In the meantime, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.